So welcome everyone. Thank you for being punctual. I think let's start since we are all here without any further delay. So please correct me if I'm starting from a wrong location, but I think we have to start from, page number 14. I'll just put it in front and you can correct if this is not the right place. So I think we have to start from here. Am I correct? Would anyone please guide? So you remember where we stopped last? I think we had covered this one. The way of yoga followed here has a different purpose.
Yeah, exactly. We
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to start today on page 14 with this one, this paragraph. Yeah. Would anyone like to read it out?
Okay, I'll read it out. So, there are some of the effects of the descent of higher consciousness into the most physical. It brings light, consciousness, force, ananda into the cells and all the physical movements. The body becomes conscious and vigilant and performs the right movements, obeying the higher will, or else automatically by the force of the consciousness that has come into it. It becomes more possible to control the functions of the body and set right anything that has gone wrong, that is wrong, to deal with illness and pain, etc. A greater control comes over the actions of the body and even over the happiness uh, and even over the happenings to it from outside. The body becomes more effective instrument for work. It becomes possible to minimize fatigue, peace, happiness, strength, lightness come from the whole physical system.
Thank you. Yeah, anything anyone wants to share here?
Yes, so Monica, I wanted to ask.
Shweta, can you be a little louder?
Okay, am I more audible now?
Just a second.
Is
I
it
think
better?
something wrong with me. Just a second. Yes,
Am I
please.
audible?
Yeah, now good.
Is it better?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Please.
So one question that comes to me, Monica, is that this effects of descent of higher consciousness, is it largely physical? Matlab, physically you will feel this, and also if it means that all the time you will feel this lightness and uh, the energy part of it, irrespective of the physical labor that you put in the day. Like how do you define this? So I need some clarity there.
Yeah, would anyone want to share anything here?
So my interpretation of this is that, if you surrender to a higher force, it will guide the body to do the right things, basically. And even deal with the day-to-day fluctuations in pain and illness and whatever. I don't know, I may be wrong, but this is my interpretation of this paragraph.
Yeah, thank you, Virenji. Actually, we see here the limitation of our instrument, which is the mind, which we use to understand these words. So it's a very limited tool, and we see that no matter how much we may think how it would be, it's just limited, and we just cannot have the right true picture. We can, of course, think about it, imagine, and all that, but we cannot have the true picture of how this is going to be. So Mother says that our task is not to go into this imagination how it would be. And before the light comes in the physical, the being has to be open, open, open. That's what Mother shares. You don't have to do anything. Give yourself to me, give yourself to me, give yourself to me. And before the physical consciousness changes, which is there in this paragraph, Mother has shared at several places that the domain of thoughts and feelings must be purified. So it won't happen that suddenly my physical is changed because of the descent, while thoughts and feelings are totally impurified and still, in darkness. That's not going to happen like that. So physical is the last being, part of our being, to get transformed. According to Mother and Sri Aurobindo, we don't have to worry about it. All that we do is just like we do these chantings, and we bring the mind to Mother's name, so that instead of vicious negative thoughts, what do we have in thought? Mother's name. So purification in thoughts, purification in feelings, and again inwardly, even mentally, giving ourselves to the higher, giving ourselves to the whatever divine or Mother's name, whatever we resonate with. So this comes first. Mother shares about this, that this transformation, the physical change which is talked about in this paragraph, that is later happening. We don't have to actually go into that imagination, because we can't imagine. It's almost like, like a bird is flying, and I'm asking the bird, how is it to fly? Do I have to like, uh, you know, uh, do I have to leave myself loose, or do I have to leave myself relaxed? Will I be taken care of by the wind? Now, a bird cannot tell. Bird can hint, but bird cannot tell. I can imagine, but again, I cannot get it until I become the bird and I begin to fly. So some radical transformation happens, and this radicality is actually necessary, which happens in each one of our lives. It may not happen in this lifetime, but this radicality Mother talks about. Just I was going to share this today. Sri Aurobindo talks about this irrevocable transformation before this physical step happens. So maybe that would make it a little clear. Just a second. Yeah. So I'm going to read a few words, and then we can come back to this paragraph. So Sri Aurobindo words, and then Mother comments later on it. I'm just quoting Sri Aurobindo's words. Reject too the false and indolent expectation that the divine power will do even the surrender for you. The Supreme demands your surrender to her, but does not impose it. So this is why we have free will, that okay, if I'm not ready to surrender to the higher right now, okay, take my time, and I can take my time. So he says that the divine does not impose the surrender on you. If you are free at every moment till the irrevocable transformation comes. So free will also has a limit. Every moment I am choosing. Okay, I want to surrender. I want to surrender. Okay, ego is coming. I don't want to surrender to the ego. I want to, go with the divine. But there comes a time where this choice now is not feasible for me. But till that time where the irrevocable transformation comes, I am required to make use of my free will. So then, till the irrevocable transformation comes, to deny and to reject the divine, or to recall your self-giving, if you are willing to suffer the spiritual consequence. Then Mother comments on it. So mother says, somebody asks, what does irrevocable transformation mean? Mother says the transformation is irrevocable when your consciousness is transformed in such a way that you can no longer go back to your old condition. There is a moment when the change is so complete that it is impossible to come back once again what one was before. So right now we see in our fluctuating conditions that there is glimpses of light, clarity, stability in the mind, and then there are slipping back into the ego zone, and again overpowered by thoughts, feelings, and yet something in me is trying again and again to cling to the mother and not given the way to the ego consciousness. So effort is there, constant free will use is there, but then there comes a time that it is not possible for me to go back to living by the egoistic consciousness. Then after that irrevocable transformation, then the physical consciousness begins to change. So before that, this paragraph that we were reading, better not to, I think we can of course visualize it and imagine about it. As mother says, invoke mother's name in our cells and visualize light in our cells and mother's name throughout the body, that we can do. But how it will be, what will be the condition, I think, what can we say? We are not in a condition to understand. That's what I think. Yeah.
I just wanted to add a bit, Monica. As you were saying that the instruments, the limitation of our instruments, and I so agree with what you just said, that our instruments, our mind is so limited, and also the expression, the words are so limited that it's hard to describe it in words. Like when we eat something, let's say for example, when you're eating an ice cream and you're trying to describe it to the other person, that the ice cream tastes like this, the words can never give the actual feeling of the ice cream to the other person till the time that person himself or herself has tasted that ice cream. So I think, as you said, that yes, I think it should be, and when we describe it in words, we are also trying to form impression on the mind of the other person. Sometimes the person might think, yeah, I am not having this kind of a experience. So each one's experience is unique, and it is unique in its own way. And we all, while walking this path, we will figure out when the time when we are receptive, it is there. It is just that we will gradually open to that, and it will reveal itself in our own being in its own unique way. All we have to do is to just walk on this path, and as you said, surrender. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, yes. And in fact, there have been masters who have said that not to talk about whatever little experience you have. Of course, you can talk to the closest maybe you have and share it, but maybe on the same spiritual path. But we should not be, especially about spiritual experiences, we should not be sharing about it, because sharing disperses the experience.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
There is a Baul song in Bengali. There is a Baul song where Parvati Baul, I heard, she sang this song. She shares that I'm remembering the English translation, maybe not the Bengali words. She says that for some days, do not talk about with anyone about this bhakti you have for Krishna. And if tears come thinking about Krishna, if tears come to you, tell them that it is because of the fire wood that is used for cooking. So, because yeah, I think we all understand that these are rare glimpses we get and very precious to us. And if we don't share about it, if we just let that tap, the energy of tap, remain concentrated, then the effect it does to our being is even greater. So So that's about that. Shweta, would that resonate with what you were sharing or asking?
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel that as in how you, am I audible?
Yes, you're
Yeah.
audible.
I feel that as in how you surrender, it's personal, my feeling, like what I feel. I feel that the divine is also creating paths and challenges and situations which help you to, uh, move towards this, this. Uh, but then, like for me, it's been like I feel so much fatigue and so many other challenges that are coming, and I have this strong feeling to like give up everything, the job and everything, and just focus on physical and get stronger and just focus on divine. तो मुझे ये समझ नहीं आ रहा है. I'm asking continuously. I'm asking mother to help me understand if this is the right decision, but uh, अंदर से ये आ रहा है and it's not going away last few days. So I don't know whether to act on it, whether that is the right path. But अंदर से आ रहा है कि yes, now you can't, like all consuming work and just management and वो सब से निकल के थोड़ा और ज़्यादा consecration चाहिए, ज़्यादा focus चाहिए. And even situations are telling me कि yes, I need to focus on other things more. So that is why that question.
Yeah, yeah. I think the best, that's why Mother and Sri Aurobindo say that the first thing that you do in this yoga is get in touch with your inner guide.
Hmm.
Because no one can tell you, Shweta, this step to take, that step to take. No one. And if anyone tells also, you know, that's not right, because everyone has different unfolding of truth. So who knows whose path is who, what? We have no clarity. So I have no clarity about my own unfolding. How can I guide anyone's unfolding? And Mother says clearly, that on this path, that your way is your way. Your unfolding is your special unfolding. So beautiful that you are observing that this change is coming. And I think the best is that you already shared it, that keep offering it to the mother, and you will get to know, the inner knowing will tell you which way to go, which is the
Yeah, it's a
right path
very
for you.
strong,
Yeah.
knowing. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. Anyone wants to add on anything?
Hi, you can hear me?
Yes, yes. Now I can hear everyone. There was something wrong with my speaker. Yeah.
Okay, so I have tried many paths, many different types of things, and everywhere I seem to, whenever I make progress, have a huge fear comes up every single time. And the fear I was trying to neglect the fear and move on, saying, no, it's okay. I'll just, that's something is a rock in the path. I'll just move on. But every path, it has taken me to a stage where I have had to stop the path. I cannot move forward at all. The fear started affecting my health and a lot of things. So everything that I have started, I have had to stop. But strangely, I seem to want to keep trying more things rather than just say, no, this is not for me. Instead of that, I just hear some word somewhere and tears start to roll down my eyes. And I'm like, oh, I want it so much. I don't even know what I want, but I want it. Sometimes I see certain things and I see it. It's so strong, but the fear is so insurmountable. So this is very scary fear. And I don't even know the origin of the fear and I cannot get past it. I don't know, what does mother say about it? Because I don't know much about
Yeah.
mother.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Mother says a lot about fear. So you have a lot of, good words to delve into mother's literature. I can maybe later on find and share with you some. But, and again, we have many tools available to go through all and these are past impressions. Now I will tell you my example, which maybe you'll get a hint that this is not very uncommon, and these are past impression which stays with us, and somehow we have to just go through them. So something would happen to me, and some trigger, some particular trigger, and my heart will burn like as if I can't stand that situation. Now I was not in thoughts, because in thoughts I cannot make logic out of it. If I go into the thoughts and try to connect the dots, where is this coming from, this burning in the heart, I am not able to get a sense of it. So ultimately, again and again, because of that external trigger, when that burning in my chest continued, like the moment I get in that situation, burning in my chest. Now I have again no logical reason. Maybe the thing that you were talking, fear, like too much of fear that you were talking. So I see it. Now, if I see that I'm not in a situation to really confront it fully, what do I do in the beginning? I stay away from that particular trigger. Why? Because I know that it really pulls me down. And if I stay away from that trigger, then I see that I'm okay. I have my balance, and I can keep the mind with the breath, with the mother's name, and the chest is not burning, nothing wrong. I am okay. And then slowly, as I gain strength in my being with the mother more and more, stabilizing my consciousness with the mother, as I gain strength, then slowly I can expose myself to this trigger, which so far has been disturbing me, right? But I feel that in the beginning, it would be very nice to see that in what situations, one falls into such a condition where it really is, as you said, the word you used, insurmountable, like it's overwhelming, you lose your balance. So what I did was that I tried earlier, I was too torturous on myself, and I kept jumping in the same situation, although it was giving me heartburn. Why? Because I thought, okay, let me see, I'm not that weak, I'm not that weak, but it was not doing good to me. So what I did, I stopped facing that particular trigger, because if I don't face it, like for example, if you go to this particular shop, that person's face burns your heart. Say, imagine, right? Now, if I'm not able to tolerate it, I can change the shop for some time. But what I was doing was, I was again and again going to that shop, letting my heart burn, not knowing how to deal with it. So I once then, I had suffered enough. I asked myself, why do I need to go to that shop again and again? Who's pestering me? Who is telling me that yes, you have to show your strength? Nobody. So then I stopped going to that shop, example that I'm using, and began to use some other shop where the person's face doesn't burn my heart. And I can more with the mother, be with the mother, bring the mind home, keep it, keep a sanctity. Then slowly, as I gain strength, then now I can choose whenever I need again to test myself. Okay, am I okay now? Something like that. So mother says that nothing that is given to you is impossible to transcend. First of all, that's a lot of courage that mother gives. That exactly, she uses the word exactly, in the same proportion of the trouble given to you, you have the exact amount of strength to overpower it, transcend it. So don't think that we don't have the strength. We have the strength, and each one is being given different permutation and combinations of problems. Each one of us very unique in that sense. And mother says that exactly that amount of strength you have. So mothers even goes to the point of saying that a person who is a coward, he is in equal measure he is capable of becoming a courageous person. So more coward, imagine the more possibility of being courageous. But we have to now connect with our being, still the mind, bring the mind feelings in certain harmony, and find this way. This way has to be our own unique way. Mothers, Sri Aurobindo's words, other masters' words, they can guide, but the path we have to tread alone with divine grace always. So I would say that I would delve into Mother's Sri Aurobindo's words on fear. There is enough literature available. One of the ways in which one can take care of the fear, Thich Nhat Hanh says that fear is like a vibration. You're vibrating with fear, And when you are mindful of your breathing, you feeling fearful, but you are not leaving your breath. You are breathing, breathing, breathing. You know you are feeling fearful. You are continuing mindful of breathing. So with this new energy of mindfulness of breathing, he says that you create like an envelope of a greater energy. You are not leaving your breath, staying with the fear in the body. So don't go into the thought, sense the fear in the body. And with mindfulness of breath, he says that we create this powerful energy around us, which envelops like a mother energy, envelops the energy of fear and makes us able to transcend that fear. So that's one of the possibilities that he shares. And then along with that, we have much literature available with the mother. So that should help.
Thank you. It's amazing you say certain things like you have to find your own path, because I have heard this exact same whenever I cite my experiences or questions. Whenever I question to so many different people on this path, I've been getting the same answer. You have to create your own path. There's only guidance. The path has to come from you. So it's coming. I'm trying so many different things, but there's like no ready-made stuff. You have to
And yeah,
create yourself.
absolutely. Yes. But
So
it's good to explore. Good that you're exploring, because then, imagine that you're looking for a temple. In
yeah,
every temple, everyone is saying, not here, not here, not here, not here. So it seems, okay, when then, when will I reach the temple? But then we see that we are negating all the things which are not for me, not for me, not for
right.
me, and
Exactly.
getting to the right direction actually. So this is really
Exactly.
good. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, would anyone want to add on?
The text, like the original, the what we read, I think again, going with Shweta's and Srivaja's question, like when we read commentaries about Upanishads or Vedas, this thing that this will happen, that will happen, it comes a lot. And I, as a child, used to wonder that tell me what to do. Why are you telling me, this will happen, that light will shine? Like I could not understand. But now I think I understand that, we are our own obstacles, right? We are our own walls. But when we hear, say, a mother say that, this is possible, that all cells of your body will be in peace, will be in happiness, what you just shared about courage, that this is my possibility, then I know that I cannot say that, but I'm human, I will do this, right? I come, I know what I am, and I know that as a human, in this body, I have possibilities. See, mother said that. See, say Vivekananda said that. Nanak did that. Kabir lived that. So I think more than anything, it shows me that I can do that too. And other than that, like you shared that, going into visualizations or imaginations, I mean, either if they're helping us to visualize or imagine to bring more energy into us, they can have the effect of being more distractive, right? You keep judging, which is never kind of right. So just know, I think it's very motivating, rather like it should not become an indulgence or a quest, right? But like if when my father used to share this, although I used to be like, why are we even reading this? There used to be a lot of joy on his face. There still is. Because I think again that possibility that, oh, this is also possible, right? Like this state of Ananda, wow. So just that wow factor, that unbelievable. It's, I guess, probably that's what it hints at, that yes, I have fear, but there's a state in which she's saying that peace would be my every second, right? Like, wow. So even if I am feeling scared or confused, just that knowing that this too shall pass. I am meant, or I will be. How mother keeps saying in her prayers and meditations, right? That thy victory is certain. That's it, right? All the prayers, I think mostly, they do have that, right? That just that, okay, right now I am, lying on the ground and crying. And yet parallelly, something in me knows that this is not my destination. I will step up and rise.
Yeah, beautiful. Yes, absolutely.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah, hi, Claudia.
Hello. Um, yeah, I verify in my life that sometimes my fears are not my fears, are coming from my mom, are coming from the society, are coming from the education that I have. I have certain fears, yes. Certain fears belong to me. Certain fears don't belong to me. And when I accept that some fears don't belong to me, then I can begin to walk my own path because I can see, okay, these fears belongs to me. Like every time that I go to a higher mountain and I see that it's really high down there, I become a screaming and paralyzed, you know? So I know that I have this kind of fear. And then I kind of have my own way to work with that. So yes, to know thyself is very important, to put yourself in situations and say, okay, this is my fear or it's not my fear. So always ask, no, from where it's coming. I learn it. Someone give me to me, yes, and then I think you can begin to give your own little steps towards your path. For example, I never go alone to a higher places because I know that I will be like paralyzed and things like that. Yes. So just know that I need someone in certain situations, and that doesn't make me less, or just I have to be humble in certain situations, and that's it. I mean, in my case, um, I just want to share this because for me it helped me a lot, just really with these fears.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Actually, we can just, yeah, go back. So, the more we open ourselves to the mother, to the higher force, the more we give ourselves. Mother says, don't pull down the force, give yourself to me. So, whenever we see that we want to pull something down, we have to be aware. Mother says that's the wrong way to do it. The best way is the safest way, also, she says, is to give yourself to me. Somebody came and says to the mother, Mother, I've been reading Sri Aurobindo's work and this and that and reflecting over it, but I don't see any great progress in me. And mother says to that person in the ashram that because you're doing it all wrong. And she says that you just offer yourself to me. How simple. So in the way of words, it appears really simple, but we know that so much resistance then comes again and again when we are inwardly giving ourselves to the mother, the whole life saying to the mother, Mother, this belongs to you. Again and again inwardly offering ourselves to the mother. And then mother says, once you keep offering yourself to me, I will do the yoga for you, don't worry. But this opening has to be there, this receptivity has to be there. So when this opening is there, then the descent of higher consciousness is also there. And first on the mental layer, vital layers, thoughts and feelings, and then so slowly towards our physical consciousness. There is actually a poem, sonnet by Sri Aurobindo, Golden Light, where he describes how thy golden light, kind of a descent, comes to my thoughts, everything turns brilliant, then comes to my feelings, turns brilliant, comes to the mortal limbs, the cells of the body, they also feel so energized and revitalized with that descent of consciousness. So these are all, as Taru was sharing, very motivating experiences that yes, this is our destiny, all of us. So this descent brings light, consciousness, force, because usually, as Shweta was sharing, we feel weak, fatigued, the body stumbles down under its limitations, the burden of fatigue and tiresomeness. So that all is taken care of. Then it brings light, consciousness, force, ananda into the cells and all physical movements. So this is the bargain that the divine is ready to give us, because we see that when we live in the egoistic consciousness, me, my limited self, my limited story, then we are so drained all the time, hardly have any energy, very limited energy, very limited capacity. But when we give again and again, keep giving that this limited self to the mother and not following the dictates of this limited self, then this is the bargain that we get. This is what we get in exchange. And it's not that we have to do the sadhana that, oh, one day I will get this, not like that, but this is by default, it's like, it's made like that, that the more we live for the higher, the more we live not for just our limited self, we have this bargain, we get it. So it's not that we are giving ourselves for free. For those of us with a transactional mind, they may think, it divine is giving us a very good bargain. Kabir also, in one of his songs, he says that, oh you bargainer, do the right bargain. This is the right bargain. Giving ego for in exchange for all this. The body becomes conscious and vigilant, alert, because we see lots of time we are in dullness and lethargy. So that is taken care of. The body becomes conscious and vigilant and performs the right movements, obeying the higher will, or else automatically by the force of consciousness that has come into it. It becomes more possible to control the functions of the body and set anything right, anything that is wrong. So, Mother says that we can become so conscious slowly, the more we open ourselves to higher consciousness, that the moment an illness is going to come, and before it touches even the other layers of the body, like what they say is that a nervous envelope, before it hits that, that something is coming and you are able to work on it and remove it. Usually what happens with us is, first the disease completely enters our being and then we realize that yes, oh, today I'm sick. That's what happens with us, because we are not conscious at these other levels. But the more conscious we become, we see it coming from far away and we are able to do the right thing. Mother talks about this, this protection of living in the divine consciousness. One of the anecdotes that she shares, I think she was maybe in, I don't remember where, maybe France or Japan maybe, and there was a tram coming, and Mother says that at that time I was just living within and uniting more and more with the divine within, and that tram or some vehicle was coming, and before she was kind of deeply absorbed within and not aware of the senses, like what is happening outside. And even irrespective of that, the moment that tram was coming like closer to her, she got a shock and she was able to get back from that place where she could have been hit. Why? Because the inner being told, even without the senses being in operation that time. So this is the power we get the more we open ourselves to the true and the higher. It becomes possible to control the functions of the body, set right anything that is wrong, to deal with illness and pain. So having a headache, again, we can experiment so much when we are having these little day-to-day troubles, having a headache, stomach ache, some cold and cough, using our consciousness if we are ready to do that. Mother's force in order to deal with these aches and pains. A greater control comes over the actions of the body and even over happenings to it from outside. The body becomes a more effective instrument for work. That's what all of us want. Who wants lethargy in the being? All of us want a good, healthy body. it becomes possible to minimize fatigue. So we were talking of fatigue. The more we live for the limited self, we are fatigued. The more we live only for the mother, we are not fatigued. It's even in relative degrees, if we see those people working day in, day out for good work, selflessly giving themselves for good work, we see that they have energy. So purity in the being does something. So it becomes possible to minimize fatigue, not at this moment, not talking about complete eradication, but minimize. Peace, happiness, strength, lightness come in the whole system. So this is the power of giving ourselves to the divine, opening ourselves to the higher consciousness. Now, who can say no to this? Such a beautiful package. But we can say no to it, because as mother says that stupidities have very deep roots, and it's not easy to cure human stupidity. So we can say no to it, yeah, and maybe yes to something else. So that's about it. Yes, Claudia?
I mean, you say stupidity, but I mean, I will not call it. I mean, yes, ignorance, maybe. Yes, because we ignore our traumas, our subconscious shadow, and then we are like driven by that. So, like you say, like when we don't have conscious about it, we are driven by that. Like, for this reason, I like so much the inquires, and maybe you do this also with the patients, that you go to ask yourself about something that happened when you was child, yes, and you was maybe abandoned, or you grew up with a problematic family or things. All that will drive your life, your fears. I mean, like we speak before, yes, and you don't know. You are completely ignorant about it, and then for this reason you don't allow the divine to heal yourself. You go to the illness because illness is a safe place for you. I mean, you think that illness is your mom because when you was with your mom, illness was the right thing. So it's really like this sometimes, yes. It's what I observe. I mean, I am still ill. Well, today no. Today I didn't have a crisis, so yesterday even. But I can observe that one part of my body is still holding back to that safety, to that, yes, of the illness, safe place. Like Sweetie was telling now, I feel fear. I don't know if she feel fear of going out of this safe place. But yes, I think I also feel like, I don't know if fear, but I feel like I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I don't know how to describe the feeling. Sometimes I feel shame if I go out from the illness. Sometimes I feel guilty. I mean, it's changing in the emotion, It's not always fear. It's like, and it's, yes, I supposed to give that to the mother. Yes, that guilt, that shame, that everything that I feel. So it's, sometimes it's just like, I mean, proud, yeah, a lot of proud, or pride, I don't know how you call it. And sometimes it's super difficult to give it to someone, I mean, to the divine, someone that you don't even know, yes? Someone that is invisible or is not here, and you are like, oh, yes, I have to, or I don't know. It's just sometimes sounds like ridiculous for our material world, yes. I'm sorry if I express myself um, in a wrong way. I mean,
Please.
say.
That would be the last thing. Please don't think about that. I think mother says that human beings are the most miserable beings on planet because we take ourselves too seriously, and we see that we do take ourselves too seriously. And one chief companion on the path, according to Mother and Sri Aurobindo, is humor. So the ability to laugh over yourself, and we see that children have that to a great extent. They're like explorers, and if they will fall, ha ha ha, they can follow, laugh about it. But we adults, if we fall, we think, oh my God, who is looking, like that. So we take ourselves too seriously. We tie ourselves to the labels and images that we have. If we can lighten this burden, it becomes a great companion on the path. This humor thing that mother. I remember, a long time back, I I used to really think that I'm a very serious person. Maybe I still am, but I used to get inspired by people who had the ability of being able to laugh over themselves. And I would say that one day, I would also want to be here. I don't know when one day, but I remember that I had this, like, it would give me a lot of lightness when I would see people who are able to just take themselves so non-seriously. I was very serious. I may still be, as I said, not going into that. So everything is relative. But now I see that whenever there are phases when I am, overpowered with something, some strong intensity, something overburdening me. Now I see that with Mother's grace, there is an element of lightness that is there, which really, really helps. You can laugh over yourself. You can take your troubles not that seriously. And I am many a times it happens paradoxically together, that my heart is paining, like really my chest is painful, like physically unease, and I'm able to be light about it. So I don't know what to do about it, but I somehow, some part of me is not that serious about it. So I think that really is a big help if one can, we can slowly inculcate that, or have friends who have good humor, good distraction.
Yes, but when you say don't be serious and to laugh, it just came to me this image of a guy or myself when I used to smoke pot. This and I was like, ah yeah, I was like laughing about everything, the images move or things, like I was feeling like, oh yeah, so light. But it's not, and then I have this judgment about all the people that get high like so like easily, but they look like yes, like children, like laughing about everything, and it's just like in this stupidity life. And I just get super nervous and super like furious, and I say, I'm not going to be like them, so silly and so like stupid. It's just like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's like one have to be responsible, in life, and one have to be.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely
It's
agree.
just like,
If we look at Sri Aurobindo's humor or Mother's humor, if we look at, their letters they would write to people, and if we pick up these lines of humor, you will see that parallelly, as you said correctly, there is sincerity, there is responsibility, but there is also some lightness there. So I totally resonate with what you shared, that it's not that one loses the sincerity on the path, but it's a very fine balance, I believe. Only with the help of grace it can come. That sincerity is there, vigilance is there, and yet ability of laugh over, to laugh over our stupid mistakes, and to, kind of shake off the past and move into future is also there. So on that line, but I agree with what you shared. A balance needs to be there. Yeah. Anyone wants to add on anything? Anything on stupidity?
I think our ego would not allow us to, easily accept that, yes, I'm stupid, right? Like, because, I have been using the word in a condescending way. And it's like, how can I be stupid? But, when we, a lot of times when we look back, then we can say, oh, I was, maybe naive or stupid that way. And that's all right.
that whenever we realize that, okay, we were not using our best possibility, and that's a process. But Claudia had said this, that we don't even know how can we, like how she had said it, that how do we trust when we don't even know fully. So on that, I just wanted to say that if I actually look at things factually, I don't know myself fully. I don't know anything, right? Like there's so many things that when I become aware, that I see in me, that shock me. That really, this is my thought, and like so much is revealed, and we trust people, we know people, and then say, I don't know, separations are having, divorces are happening, that I could never understand that person. So just want to say that superficially we might think that we know myself or others, but if we actually holistically see this thing that I know, I don't think it really is my truth. Rather than that, I don't know is more my truth, right? Like why that neti that we talk about, not this, not that. Because everything is always changing, everything is fluctuating. It's a living organism, right? Like it's not static. It even stones, like I wanted to say, it's not set in stone, but even stones, although they look like they never change, and yet they change. So just wanted to say that we cannot really say that this I know and that I don't know. That possibly I know more if I allow myself the freedom to accept that, right? Rather than this.
Yeah. Yeah. As mother says that, of course, no one can push us on the path, right? So every moment, everybody has the opportunity. Yes, we can surrender. If we don't want to surrender, okay, not now, not ready. And that's why mother says that at one point of time, mother says that you have to be so disgusted with yourself. So this is our capacity, that we don't leave our little self to the point of disgust. So this point has to come, that for example, I'm smoking and smoking and smoking, and I'm not ready to give up smoking. Now I'm just disgusted with myself, that how long will I keep smoking like this? It's killing me. Now something new can happen. So because free will is there, free surrender is there. If we think on the same lines what you were sharing, that if we think that my life is going in the way I want, okay, by all means go ahead. If this is serving me better and the divine won't serve me better, okay, go, we can actually, we all go ahead. So that's why most of us come to spirituality or any guru or any master when we really have suffered too much, like it's beyond our strength. Then we open up to this higher strength. So in that sense, suffering is a blessing in disguise, because that's what opens us to our true self. Before that, we are not ready. We think that, as you were sharing, I know. But if we closely look, we see that we don't know really. Deepa Ma, one of the Buddhist masters, she was so miserable. She shares in her journey that I was so miserable, really suffering so heavily in my life. And it was only meditation that really took care of all my pain, troubles. It just like wiped away. And I was a new self. So this spiritual rebirth that Mother and Sri Aurobindo talk of. And before suffering, one doesn't somehow get to it. We are somehow, I don't know, at this moment we are like that, because we think I can manage. Why to bother mother for this? Why to bother a divine for that who I don't even know, like we were sharing. So I can manage. But when we come on the path, we see that even the little things, going for a drive, taking a shower, why not open it to the mother? It's making my life beautiful, so why to stop that beauty to come in? So I feel that parallelly we also need a lot of self-love in this sense, not like narcissist kind of self-love, that now I would like to make myself not suffer, and I would like to take care of this being that is granted to me. Beautiful thoughts, beautiful feelings, good discipline in the body, sincerity, purity, because I have suffered enough. And it's not that challenges won't come, of course, challenges come as long as we are alive. But then again, we will not be taking the side of those darknesses that we always take. We will be on the side of truth. That yes, I am in the trouble right now, but all I want is truth. So mother knows what to do in this situation. I don't want anything out of this situation. No personal willing is there. Then we can know the divine will. When the personal willings stop. Yes, Swapna. You're not audible, Swapna.
Oh, 1 second. I should get another
Yeah, now.
head. It's okay?
Yes,
I'll put on another headphones too.
it's good
What I was
now.
going to say about this personal will and this passage, right, about the light coming into the body. It's like I noticed a personal, well, there's the wish and the aspiration. There's also the desire for that to happen, right? For the body to receive that force, that light, especially in relation to illness. For example, just one part of what this passage we're looking at today. I've thought that so many times, like, oh, wouldn't that be just amazing? And so as soon as I start to, for example, feel a tickly throat, or I start to sneeze, I think, oh, that could be a cold. Right, mother says, I can fend it off now. I can really just send it away, push it away. And so the intention goes there, and I'm doing that, and still I can fall sick, right? So then the stupidity comes in of, oh God, I can't do it. Look, I'm still so unconscious. Decades later, after reading these words and knowing I could get conscious, and it's so interesting how the ego can then piggyback and end up, beating me up for not being as conscious as this passage promises. It's really a beautiful promise of something that's not only possible, but as Mother and Sri Aurobindo also say, the yoga is inevitable. The supramental is inevitable. It's going to happen. But it's so, I don't know. I think for me, I'm just noticing the frustration that can come in. And in a way, that's the stupidity, right? Of like, oh God, it's never going to happen to me. Right? Like somewhere the ego can then come in and hijack the whole thing and go, oh, I'm somehow never going to be that one who will get to have the consciousness in my cells or be that conscious in my body that I can fend off an illness. Right. And it's also ridiculous. I can observe all of it because, of course, it's not going to happen to the ego like that, the descent of that light. It's not that the ego that's going to get it. It's a much larger, much greater process.
Yeah. Two things here. So somebody, some foreigner came to the ashram, and they were asking about some supramental, descent. That when will we get the supramental descent? Something like that. Mother really warded them off. Mother said they will get nothing. What have they given to the divine that they're asking for supramental consciousness? So you're right when you say the ego won't get anything. That's why the first step is give yourself to the mother. Supramental is not somebody's possession. Like I have, my house is now supramental conscious. That's not, it's not possession of the ego. And the second thing I wanted to share is that, this frustration, it's like almost, I begin to play guitar and my teacher plays so beautifully like a concert. He just rocks every time. And he's playing on the stage. And I get so inspired. Wow, what effortless playing he does. So one day I pick up my guitar, I go to the stage, and I, try my fingers on stage. I really fail really badly, miserably. I get frustrated. So what is wrong here? I don't see the hours of practice that my master spends every day, compromising on all the social relations, everything. We don't see that practice. So there is no point of getting frustrated because it's not going to happen like that. Hours of practice. Sri Aurobindo, was in seclusion for hours, days, years. He did not meet anyone because that energy, that tapas, the energy in gathered consciousness, that's why he was able to give us so much synthesis of yoga, life divine. So so there is no point, if we look at this logical sequence, there is no point getting frustrated because it's not going to happen like this. Where are my 24 hours spent that I want to now play effortlessly this guitar like a rock star? 24 hours, where am I spending? Because my master doesn't spend 24 hours where I spend. He spends loving the guitar, playing the strings. That's why he plays it so beautifully and harmoniously. Because there is nothing on his mind but the strings. This is true. For all geniuses, this is true. They had nothing on their mind but the problem that they were trying to solve. Albert Einstein, we see Stephen Hawking, all these people who have Leonardo da Vinci, who have given something to the world. We see that why they have been able to offer so much to the world years after that we are able to utilize, because they gave their life to that work. What are we giving? That we are wanting that, something comes and like a brahmastra I have and the illness goes away. So that's where we have to be really, the first step, honesty, sincerity. If we truly really want, if this becomes your central inspiration, what you just shared, no one can stop you from having it. That here comes the illness and here Swapna has a invisible sword and it's gone, transformed into some beauty. But that should be my want every moment of the day, not in the morning and then busy with some other discourses or something else, some other interactions, vital engagements mostly with us, wanting approval, satisfactions from this, that. So like that, we remain ordinary, while we all have the power to be really the extraordinariness that you were talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Agree with all that you're saying, Monica, and absolutely can see the places, right, that I'm not sincere or I forget or put my attention on something vital. And if I were to still come back to this kind of passage about like the cells and this consciousness, or that the cells can awaken, and I guess just using this opportunity, since we happen to be looking at this, right, of like, okay, so is there some specific steps, right? This is just me sharing some of the things that I've gone through over the years, right? Are there some specific steps I can take so that my cells can take in the light more? So, for example, I've heard in Pondicherry from different people and, about like sitting and imagining Sri Aurobindo Mother's light coming in from the top of my head, and filling the being. I've heard Dr. Sumitra Basu talk about something similar for healing. So I've spent some time doing that. There's some other practices I may have done, that I can't find words for right now. Yet I go to, okay, is it more about, in this moment, I go, just a wondering of, is it more about simply the whole package, right? Like doing the yogas, and how do I give myself to Mother? Is it remembering her at every moment? Is it times of quiet? Is it reading their words? Is it offering service? Is it everything that will lead to what this passage is promising? Or are there some other specific steps, such as, I don't know, when you're lying sleepless in bed? I know other people in Pondicherry that sometimes seem to have indicated that's what they're doing. When they're not able to sleep, they're actually somehow experiencing some sense of the Mother's light coming into their cells, And so is it about using imagination, or I don't know, I just about this particular thing we're looking at,
Yeah,
I
I think
get curious.
as you said, all of it, all of it can be helpful at various times, but one thing I want to place here in the right position again with Mother's and Sri Aurobindo's words. Now think about it, all of us, think about it. Why Mother and Sri Aurobindo say that the physical transformation is last? One of the reasons I want to put forward here. What will happen if the physical becomes immortal while the being remains drenched in the ego consciousness? Think the implications of it. Titans, people who can kill everyone, and demonic forces, but they can't be killed. We don't want a world like that. So that's why we have to, that's why physical consciousness, of course, what the steps that you shared, invoking the mother in the cells, we can absolutely parallelly, Mother also says, parallelly do that. But before complete purity in thoughts and feelings, and slowly absolute self-giving to the divine, the physical transformation cannot happen because it will defeat its purpose. If the physical becomes immortal before the thoughts and feelings purely become divine, again, it's like creating an anti-divine force against myself. So here in the Mother, the book, the Mother, this small little book. So here, the first page, it tells us this exact thing. There are two powers that alone can effect in their conjunction, like parallelly, the great and difficult thing which is the aim of our endeavor, a fixed and unfailing aspiration that calls from below, and supreme grace from above that answers. So we all see, connect with that. Then, but the supreme grace will act only in the conditions of the light and truth. So why will Mother save a person who has ill intentions in the mind? Of course, Mother will save because the Mother is Divine Mother. He will also be saved. Mother saves Asuras also, and works with Asuras. But if I am calling divine grace and my intentions are not pure, now let me complete the paragraph. But the supreme grace will act only in the conditions of light and truth. It will not act in conditions laid upon it by the falsehood and ignorance. For if it were to yield to the demands of falsehood, it would defeat its own purpose. So parallelly,
That's
as
it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's it. That's the piece that I've been kind of grappling with in the session today. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, absolutely, that's it. And now it's like the puzzle filling, I was like, okay, that, of course, that's why it's not like we can using my example of the illness, right? It's like, oh yeah, of course, it's not yet time for that to be happening, obviously, because there's all that purity and exactly the conditions still have to be so much more purified, as well as a lot of yoga to happen yet.
Yeah, absolutely. For all of us, like, a battle of ages, as Sri Aurobindo says. And we see with, these little letters that Mother would write back to people in the ashram who were actually fighting these anti-divine forces. Adverse forces will come. What are these darkness and depression and gloomy days? These are adverse forces. So Mother says that what is the best way? In White Roses, where Mother writes all the compilation of letters to Huta Didi, she was really again and again attacked by, she says, adverse forces. And Mother says, you do it the wrong way. Why do you go away to them? You stick with me. Hold on to my sari. The problem is that again and again, because of our slipping mind, we enter into that forest of thought, forest of feelings which really drown us, and we begin to want something from there. So now I have to really be clear about it, that no, I don't want anything but the mother. So then Mother says that if you stay under my protection like this, not wanting anything from the falsehood that arises, it is impossible that the falsehood then can overpower you. It will be there, but finally it will get defeated. So who fuels the falsehood? It's me. I fuel the falsehood. I leave the mother and say, let me go into that forest, maybe some promise I get fulfilled. And then we suffer. So this is very interesting. It's good to read those little lines that mother has written to Hutadi in white roses, that single lines. And although mother says that don't show my letters to anyone, mother has this thing that to every sadhak I am writing something different. So don't make it into a formula. That's also good for us to understand. Yes, Priyanka.
Wanted to share a small incident that happened with me in context with what we are discussing right now. So as we are talking about purification, for even the light and all that we're talking about, and we have to prepare ourselves for that, prepare our body, our mind for that. And while we read these things and we know that victory is certain, but there's certain things that we have to, certain habits we have to develop within ourselves in our daily life, certain practices, which will automatically help in purifying our being. And one of the things that once worked magically for me was practicing gratitude. And I was doing a workshop, and it talked about maintaining a gratitude journal and to write something. Think of all the things, good things in your life which you are, thankful of, because often our mind very quickly catches all that is not happening in our life, all that are unpleasant, but all that we are blessed with, it is taken as normal, it is taken as for granted. So and it was, this realization also came when I started doing that journaling. So it said that every day write 3 things that you are thankful of. And I found it so difficult to do that because, every day sitting down at a certain time and writing something in the journal, I would be able to do it some days. There were some days that I was not able to do it. And one fine day, when it was 3-4 days and I was not able to do it, I said, okay, let me sit down and write for all the days that I haven't. So I just wrote the dates, and for every day I was just thinking of all the things in my life that I am thankful of. And I was filling the pages. Okay, this date, 3 reasons, this date, 3 reasons, and 3-4 pages I filled up. And as I was writing, I was thinking. And some of the things were little mechanical also, कि हाँ ठीक है, अभी भरना है पेजेस मुझे, तो मुझे कुछ लिखना भी है, तो चलो हाँ ये अच्छा हो रहा है मेरी जिंदगी में, I should write this. But even when I was doing it mechanical, I mean, by the end of it, it has taken something like, because I was doing it all in one day, in one moment, it would have taken something like 20 minutes or half an hour, I don't remember. But all I remember, what happened at the end of it, well, I started doing the 3rd or the 4th page, something within me started changing. In that very moment, I started feeling, I don't know whether to use that word called happy. Joy would be, I don't know whether I can say that I felt joy. I don't know, whatever we can understand. I'm using a relatable term like अच्छा लगने लगा, खुश लगने लगा. Or suddenly, my home, this was my home, this was my family, this was the situations, everything were the same, but every person started becoming more loving to me. Now everything started becoming more accepting to me. And that was such a magical thing that happened in that moment, that I wrote that experience after that, how I am feeling in that moment. And it was so beautiful. So, even if, and just connecting it with something else, that when it is raining, even if you don't want to get wet, but when you go out and if you don't have an umbrella, you will get wet. So what I'm trying to say is that when I'm writing the gratitude journal and I'm filling it the pages, even if some of the things, maybe I'm writing it thinking on the surface only, but yet it has an impact at a very, very deep level. And that gradually brings about an inner change. And this is a very simple uh, thing, so I just thought of sharing it because it changed my being. It was magical for me. And I thought if we can practice, if anybody, feels if it can help in their life, try it, because it has worked for me. Now that I don't write it every day now, not necessary that you have to write it, even if you are thinking about it in any moment of the day, if you're thinking of what you are thankful of, because writing is just bringing it into a practice. So when you write it, when you bring it into your brain, create a neural pathway for it. So in the brain, there is that pathway created, and then your own being supports you, helps you. You are empowering your own self, and then you don't have to write it. It becomes ingrained as a memory in every cell of the body. So at any moment when something challenging also happens in the life, automatically that feeling of thankfulness comes कि ये आया क्यों है, और कुछ सिखाने आया है, कुछ अच्छाई के लिए आया है, तो मुझे देखना क्या है इसमें. What is it that Ma, what is it Shima, what is it that you're trying to show me? Give me the power to see that. So, a simple thing, so empowering and so changing. So try it.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Gratitude, Mother says that it opens us up to the divine grace. One of the 12 qualities required on the path. So thank you for bringing it up. So any last comments, anyone? Yes, Shweta?
Yeah, Mrika, with what Priyanka was saying last May, I just have this one question कि पता है, certitude है कि ये तो growth के लिए हुआ है, ये कुछ like mother is showing you something larger, or like growth of consciousness for everybody, all of us. But फिर भी having that certitude, you do suffer. So like pata hai, gratitude hai, and yet at your physical level, at your vital level, suffering is also there. So yes,
Yeah.
ऐसा ही.
Yeah. This, Shweta, what you're sharing, if you read Thich Nhat Hanh, he shares that it's completely all right. Suffering can exist parallelly with joy. And he says that if you know how to suffer well, you suffer much less. So, and if you read the little book that he has, No Mud, No Lotus, we see that we don't have to push away suffering if it is there. The only thing that is required is embracing it. So, this pata hai that you were sharing, that we intellectually we all know that this pain that has come to my life is for a higher growth, but still I'm suffering. And Mother talks about why this suffering comes. Mother talks about this pain that comes. She says that we have lived as this ego self for so long, like a chain tied to your hand since the time you were born. Now when these shackles are slowly like withering away, it hurts, because it feels like as if my part of my body is going away. So this pain, we cannot avoid this pain that you're talking of. Knowing, as you said, that knowing that it's an auspicious pain. Let the pain be there. That's word of the mother. She says that the pain is there specifically for this reason, that we have lived as an ego consciousness for a long time. So when these patterns lose, they, like they are ready to now show themselves up and let go. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. But it's a good kind of a hurt. And we can again and again continue to bring our mind to mother, breath.
Yeah.
And yeah, like just like you hold your baby when the baby is not well. Holding ourselves like that.
Yeah, that gives a lot of solace.
Yeah.
That, like continuous moment by moment solace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So can I
Yes,
say?
yes.
So Shweta's question, so that yes, we have, you said we have gratitude, and yet when a challenging situation comes, there is suffering, and the mind, there are questions in the mind, and that. So when we say yes, we have gratitude, first of all, we have to understand that it is there, but maybe it is still on the surface. It is not established in the being so deep enough that it is from the mind that we are thinking, when a situation comes from our logical mind, we are trying to analyze it. But when it is established in the being, then it is not the mind which is questioning. It is just happening. It is on an auto mode. There is no question. You become that. There is that acceptance. And that is a journey in itself. That yes, if there is a questioning right now, if my mind is questioning, if there is a suffering, as Monica said, it's okay to accept it. And maybe we will have to accept it initially, mentally only. That the acceptance is not inside and all. I am suffering, I'm feeling the pain, but I'm trying to mentally, incorporate it, accept it, or whatever. But that acceptance, that willingly, becoming malleable and being one with it, that comes with time. But it is a journey. Yeah. So even when we
Thanks.
have gratitude, I think the percentage varies, isn't it? At moments we have gratitude, and at some other moments we don't have it, which means it is not firmly established, and we have to continuously work on it.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, I don't know why came this idea to my mind when
Sorry,
I was
Claudia, you're not audible. Saurabh, maybe you can share. I think you wanted to share. After Claudia shares, you can go. Yeah. Claudia, can you just increase your volume?
Now you hear me
Yeah,
or not?
good.
Yes. Ah, so that came this idea to my mind about when you was speaking the joy in the pain. I mean, I just say, oh yes, when you are a ballet dancer, you have a lot of pain and you have joy at the same time because you are doing something. And so I have a master, Gurdjieff, that used to say, place voluntary suffering every day in your life in order that you understand that you can have joy and pain at the same time. And this voluntary suffering helps you to be kind of grounded, to understand that life will bring you suffering, will bring you a little bit pain in some situations, but that pain is going to bring you joy at the same time. I don't know if this helps, but I just want to share it a little bit. Just
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thanks. Yes, Saurabh, you want to share?
Yeah, hi. So, I mean, more than sharing is more of a doubt again. Over few months, my devotion has been better again compared to the all these years of my life. But the weird feeling which I am observing nowadays, I think I have shared with Monica. Uh, my negativity is also increasing on the same side. The more I'm putting devotion to chanting a name or doing a job or trying to remembering the divine, my mind is creating a lot of negative thoughts which were almost dead almost 10 years back. Now it is again surfacing to my subconscious and conscious mind, and I'm clueless why it is happening to me. So I don't know, is it happening with anybody else or is it normal to have that? Because somewhere heard like when you try to be on this path of surrender and devotion, the muck of the mind also comes out, which is giving some solace, some kind of peace. But what is the process of that? Does it also mean that this muck of inside mind is show you that continue the practice and all this will come away and that's how the purity will increase? because my expectation was something different. I thought of when somebody's putting the devotion, start getting the results, or maybe it takes a while to get the results. But somehow in my case, negative results came more often. You know, of putting it more like a, and that's how the self-doubt start to say, are you doing something wrong? Because everybody's getting the glimpse and everybody's getting the blessing, the divine. Why I am getting the other way? You know, why my mind is now getting more negative nowadays? This is just a, I wanted to share with this forum. That's it.
You know, the teacher Jetsunma Tenzing Palmo, she meditated in a cave for 12 years, now a Buddhist teacher. She says that whoever told you that meditation is a beautiful, beautiful process and you'll be very glad the moment you started. It's not like that. Because when we begin to become more aware of the happenings within, we see all this dirt and filth that you're talking of. It's like you have not taken care of your house for a long time. We were lost in the forest of thoughts and feelings. Now, since we have started coming back to ourselves, our home, we see that, oh my God, the house has been in really, really, really bad condition. Really bad condition. We have no power over our minds. We say that it's my mind, but the mind is ruling me. I have no power over this mind of mine. So it is a common, absolutely common occurrence. All of us who are not talking at the moment, we all suffer from this tragedy of mind, that the mind is not under our control. Otherwise, why would these avatars come again and again? Think about it. So many scriptures written, so many masters come and gone. Yet the human mind remains to be tamed. So, it's like we are in the same boat, all of us. No one is elite. Human mind remains the same, whether in India or US or wherever, Europe. Out of control most of the times. Negative thoughts most of the times. Why? Because everything is turned negative. Story of creation by the mother. Everything turns its opposite. Satchidananda, completely opposite. Sat became asat, consciousness became unconsciousness, ananda became suffering. That's why we have the prayer, asato ma sadgamaya. From falsehood, take me to that which is eternal. Tamaso ma, this darkness of thoughts. Take me towards light. Mortality, this mortal bondage, take me towards that immortality, even the physical immortality that we were talking about. That's the journey of consciousness. We don't have to get frustrated about this, really. Mother, when we come with these words, Mother and Sri Aurobindo, that is it. In fact, this must be a part of education. Because as teenage, see how old enough we are. We don't even know why we are born. And then we begin to doubt that, is something wrong with me? Why am I having these dark thoughts? Why? Because the journey is like that, from darkness to light. Otherwise, what would an adventurer do if there is everything charted out? Imagine what a shame for an adventurer. Everything is charted out, everything is mapped, put on the map. There is nothing to adventure. No fun for a true adventurer spirit. So we are all adventurers. That's why we have something which is uncharted on the way. My mind is not charted place, totally out of control. Those riders who have really great courage, they are looking for such horses which are totally out of control, wild, so that they can have the challenge and tame them. That's what we are. If we have an untamed mind, we also have the equivalent power to tame the mind. Each one of us, including myself, and all the others, all of us at Living Light, we are all taming our minds. What are we doing here? And we would not be having these sessions if our mind were all perfect, feelings all under the mother. We will not be here talking about this. So be sure that we are all in the same boat together. You are not alone. That's why Buddhism talks about take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma and Sangha. If everything was perfect, why would the need be take refuge? Why would one take refuge? Things are not perfect, but things can become divine. That's why take refuge. So don't worry. We are all ek thali ke chatte batte. We are all together. But we can walk towards greater light.
Got it. Thank you, Monica, for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And when we read these stories of, even devotees which were so close to Mother, read these anecdotes. Very good to read these anecdotes. We see that even they who so sincere, so vigilant, all the time ready to work for the divine, for Mother Sri Aurobindo, they are also troubled. So we are not alone. That's the journey. Everyone is troubled. So now that devotion can arise. Okay, since everyone is troubled, I am also troubled. Can I become one drop of poison less? Yes, I can. All of us can. Mother says few of us have to at least become pure gold. So whenever these things come up, they come, you rightly said that they come up for cleansing. Now you are ready to take them, look at them and offer them to the higher light. That's why they are coming. So nothing wrong with you, really nothing wrong with you. But yes, of course, the minds are untamed. When we look back to ourselves, our minds are untamed. So, yeah, working with that patiently.
I just
Yes.
wanted to add
Yeah.
one other little piece to what you're saying. Is I can absolutely resonate with what the last speaker said. And one of the other ways I've heard it, I think it's to some letter to, or several maybe, of Mothers and Sri Aurobindos, where when I have a resolve to, for example, I'm going to meditate now, or I'm going to be much more grateful or sincere or aspire more strongly, then 1 or 2 days it can go wonderfully, and then there can be like a real setback, and or like the mind, I'm going to be much quieter. A couple of days can feel like, oh, I'm going somewhere with this. I'm feeling so much joy. I'm getting quieter. The mind is not chattering. And then suddenly there's a day, and it's like a test. Whenever I think of it as it's like a test to test my resolve, my sincerity, as well as also, they say, the adverse forces. The whole point is they are divine, but the whole point is to challenge our journey towards the divine. So, it's like, okay, let me come and disrupt what you believe is going so well, or you've created this. Let's see how sincere you are, and then it becomes a little bit easier for me to step back and just think, okay, it's a test. And so can I not buy into what my negative chatter or spiraling downwards? It's a test for me to just take a paper, just like at school, it's like, okay, can I answer the questions and move forward?
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Yes. So much for that, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for all the reflections, listening patiently, and giving time to such a long time to these reflections. Wishing everyone a very happy practice, and thanks for joining. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Again,
Monica,
thank you.
thank you everyone. Bye-bye.